Hello friends, Jeff here from Squadron. Look what I have here. Tamiya's new Grumman F-14A Tomcat. This is the kit I've been waiting for a long time, and I'm sure many of you did the same thing. Now there are already a couple kits out there like the Hobby Boss, the old Hasegawa. I think even Monogram has one, but this one takes the cake. I mean, Tamiya went all the way and turned this into a state-of-the-art. I did an inbox review on this kit already. If you want to check it out, you still can. Click on the link. I've been looking forward to this kit for a long time, and I've been drooling over it for the past week. I finally had some time to start it actually, and it's available. You can order one at Squadron. Click on the link, and maybe you can buy one and build it with me. So let's see what's inside, and let's have some fun. So here we are. As I mentioned in the inbox review, we already got a nice picture that Tamiya provided, done by Shigeo Koike. It's something that you can cut out and put in a frame. They really know how to catch the eye, and I think with this, doing the Tomcat, they nailed it. As you can see, I already got in it. I already opened up a couple things, and just to do the inbox reviews. A few of the bags are already open, but what you basically get is, of course, the instruction sheet. You get the decal sheet, you get the decals itself, and you get a couple of color foldouts that I will come back to that later when we start painting. But for now, I just wanted to start with the absolutely basics, which is the cockpit. Glancing over the cockpit, honestly, and I also mentioned that in the inbox review, is that it doesn't really take a lot of effort to make this look stunning. Tamiya went the extra mile to provide enough detail that you don't have to worry about upgrade it with something. I think just a little bit of copper wire, maybe some milliput here and there. It looks pretty good. I don't think there is nothing to add than just assemble it and paint it. As far as Squadron is concerned, True Detail just released a set for this. I don't know if you guys have it or not, but that's something you might consider, to use a resin seat instead of the ones that they provide. Although they're really nice, the resin update seats, they usually are a little bit more organic looking, so it might be a nice asset to put into the cockpit. But that's about it. I wouldn't even go anywhere else than just build it straight out of the box. Just to top it off, maybe you can think about either updating the seats or use one of the True Detail resin seats in there. So let's look for the top, then we'll glue a few parts together. I'm thinking about constructing the top with all the little detail to it, but I would like to keep the instrument parts separate just for painting purposes. I think you all will agree on that. It's always nicer to keep those things separate before painting. Let's do that, see how far we can do. The main point is that I would like to do this build in about 4 or 5 sections, painting and weathering included. Since this is a mid-complex kit, there is a lot of work that we need to do and need to cramp in at least into one section. However, browsing through the instruction sheet and knowing the quality of Tamiya, I don't expect any problems. I'm sure that the kit, as any kit that they made, will drop together. If I can't show it all, or because of time issues we can't show it all, it just build it straight out of the box until a certain section, and then we'll tackle the next. Let's start with the cockpit. Also, since it's a lot of sprues in there, we might as well take a few out that we can place to make more room. We can place somewhere else. From what I can see now, most of the cockpit stuff is already included in sprue H. So I don't think we have to, for the time being, we don't have to tackle anything else. So I might put this somewhere else for the time being. Let's get the instruction sheet. First of all, we're going to do this section here, and then clean up the side sections, then glue the whole thing together, side console I mean. To do this, I know I talked to you, we have a couple Squadron minutes. I talked about the premium clippers. This is exactly what I meant, because those premium clippers, they are really very thin, and you don't really have to use a lot of pressure to cut these off. It's a nice clean cut. It won't twist or turn and everything. With your next purchase, or if your birthday is coming up or Christmas or whatever, might be a good thing to get one of these, because they're really worth the money. Also, the construction is going to be very simple in the beginning, so basically all you need is like a scalpel or an X-Acto blade, also a medium stick, sanding stick, an abrasive pad. That's your basics to start the initial build. The abrasive pad I use normally, like when you sand you can see there is some dust forming. Of course, when you blow it off or you wipe it off, sometimes there are still tiny little fibers around it. Sometimes they're not even visible to the eye. Once you start painting it, I run into a little problem. That's why I always make sure I get them all, and that's why I use the abrasive pad, and it will take care of that. Also, what Tamiya does, and I told you that in previous builds, is that whenever they attach a part on a sprue, they do it in such a manner that it's very easy to take it off and to clean it without damaging any of the visible area. Tamiya, to me, they're so far advanced that you can easily buy a kit unseen and know that the detail and the quality will be there. And even then, looking to the sidewalls, I'm sure in the inbox review there are more pictures that you can look at. Once you get the kit and you will focus on the sidewalls. It used to be a time that this wasn't even possible, but they have incorporated a lot of detail that 10 years ago was not even possible. So now it's fine, it's crisp, and it's all there. So that's why I'm saying, if you build this cockpit straight out of the box, I don't think you will have any problems to make it look realistic without adding anything. And the last one here. Okay, let's start gluing. First we're gonna do the bulkhead. This is what I also like with the plastic weld, is that it's somewhere across between Tamiya glue and testers. It's somewhere in between, so it doesn't dry too fast, and it also doesn't dry too slow. I like working with this. It also doesn't eat the plastic that much, although it forms really a tight and a sturdy bond. It doesn't really get into the plastic all that deep. Plus, it dries. Once it's glued, you're basically capable of sanding within the hour. You can't even tell the seams when you glue that part on there. Oh, there you go. The next step is I'm going to clean the rudder pedals and also the stick, but I'm not going to glue those on for the purposes we just mentioned. Those things are too small, so you have to paint those separately. If you use the kit seats, which are nice by the way, you have to incorporate this little piece right here. I'm going to leave that off for the time being because I'm going to incorporate the resin seats. For now, I'll clean it just in case, but I'm going to leave that off and see if it would fit or not with the resin seat. So on the little parts like the stick, there's hardly any seam or ejection marks that you have to clean, because I'm sure you all know that cleaning these parts are very delicate and they break easily. But in this case, there's not a lot of flash on there, or as I can see, any seams. Cleanup is very easy. This is a fine sanding stick. Once you're done with the medium, sometimes you can go over it, or if necessary go over it with a fine, so we don't leave any extra scratches on there. I would avoid, in this case, for now, and especially in the assembly of the cockpit, to use a coarse sanding stick, but I would stay with the medium and the fine. Sometimes in hard to reach places, like for instance the blast tube or the ejection seat mechanism, sometimes there is spaces that are hard to reach, or at least hard to sand. You might do more damage if you try to get in there and try to rub it. So the best thing is, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as out of experience, is to gently scrape it a little, where you get most of the flash off. Again, use the multi-abrasive pad just to go over it, and that leaves it very crisp and clean. There's no fibers, no flash, and ready to be painted. Now I'm gonna do this I'm going to do this section and the whole cockpit section on the instruction sheet, and I'm going to prepare everything for painting purposes. So I'm going to finish all this and part of the wheel well, also the inside of the fuselage. All this front section, the whole cockpit and wheel well will be ready to paint, because that's something we need to do before we can even advance or incorporate everything. So we need to make sure that we prepare everything to be painted, and then once the cockpit is painted, once the fuselage, the front fuselage is closed, then we really can do the serious. So far it doesn't look all that complicated. It's so well engineered that most of the detail is already incorporated into the main basic pieces. Very well detailed, very crisp, very clean. All we need to do is just clean up the sidewalls, a couple things on the rear bulkhead, and then attach the wheel well, and that thing will be ready for spray painting. The next thing we're going to clean up is the instrument panels, like here and here, but also Tamiya provided decals to be glued onto the instrument panel. So after painting the black and the gray of the instrument panel itself and the instrument facing, Tamiya provided nice instrumentation, which I think is going to look really, really well. We'll talk more in depth about it once we get that far, but so far I'm very confident that it's going to look great. The rear instrument panel, if you can look on your clear through, Tamiya provide a clear part, but for painting purposes I will leave that off for now. I'm just going to clean it up because it's something that needs to be backed in eventually. I don't want to mess it up by accidentally get paint or glue on it, so for now I'm just going to clean it up, leave it up there until after I'm painted, and then we all assemble it together with the decals. But again, a nice touch. Now once you see all these little pieces here, and you have to clean them and put them away. Sometimes it happened to the best of us, it happened to me many times. It's good to have a little tiny containers. Sometimes it's like a little candy box or mint box or whatever. Or also, in this case, I have one of those bindi boxes, Squadron has them. And as you can see, you got several little containers. It comes with a glass protection cover, so you can always see what's in there. So it's very nice to put stuff in there for later that you have to, and at least they all stay in one place. You can tell what's in there without losing stuff. It might be a good, inexpensive way to organize any build you're doing, and you deal with little pieces, either photo etch, small parts, just to protect clear parts. After you clean them up, you can easily protect them by storing in one of these little containers, and you know that they're all together, and you just have to open it up and you have a clear view of what's in there. If you have enough containers, you can do one piece in one. Sometimes I just keep like sections of a cockpit build. I keep it together, so I know if I need something, I know which container I go to. At least they're all the parts of the same area are in one little container. It's a nice little thing to have, and it doesn't cost as much. After you're done, you store it away and it's ready for the next build. So you only basically have to buy it like one time, and it will last you forever. So, but it's a really good investment. I like them a lot. They're light. They don't take up a lot of space. There are 20 of them in one container, in one box actually. Something to think about. Okay, let's see what else. I'm going to tackle the side console of the front, just next to the instrument panel. So, and then we'll do the RIO box. Then it's time to do the back bulkhead, and that's basically about it. Now there is some division between modelers. I like to keep a few main components separate for painting. They swear by, maybe they're a lot more handy than I am, or a lot more accurate, and they can. I've seen modelers putting everything together and paint do a really fantastic job in painting the cockpit with all the components attached, but I'm not that daring, I like to keep at least a couple of the main components, like the instrument panels, like the side panels, like the, in this case, the rear bulkhead separate, so I can easily manipulate them when I paint. I think it's a lot less problematic, I guess. So if you're a master painter and you have a lot of experience with that, I've seen wonderful, fantastic paint jobs and guys just putting everything together and were able to paint it just like I would do it separate. Just to give you an idea, these are electronic boxes or avionic boxes that are to be glued on the back of the rear bulkhead. They need to be painted black, and this is like a light gray. And of course, when you spray the oil, when you airbrush the oil piece gray, then eventually you have to hand paint this. I like to keep these little pieces separate because after they being painted, they're very easy to attach, and then you have a nice crisp outline instead of trying to paint around it and might into trouble. We'll come back to that when we are starting to airbrush our cockpit. There's also a little trick to it, how to keep all the parts together without losing anything or without messing it up by holding it. That's going to be another chapter. But the main thing is now that you clean all the parts up as good as you can, as crisp as you can, as clean as you can. They're ready to airbrush. I'm going to use another little bindy box here just to keep those parts safe. You can also check your references. There are a bunch of good publications out there about the Tomcat. One of the better publications is, but fortunately for now, I think it's sold out. It's the Decals book about the F-14. That's basically the only publication you need to build it. It covers several types. I think it covers everything from the A to all the way to the D. That book alone is worth its money just by colors in the cockpit. It gives you several displays, it gives you several pictures of all kind of the differences in the cockpit and also the color, so it is the best color reference out there to do this. If you have one in your collection, then you should put it on your bench because that will be a great asset to build this. Okay, we have all the small pieces ready and cleaned up. Put it in here, put that in here, close it up. And that's ready to paint now. Next step, we're gonna do the sidewalls. I mean, the sidewalls are just fantastic. Also, I'm not gonna glue them on there for now. I'm just gonna keep them separate, clean them up, and then they can be easier manipulated when painting. But the detail is just stunning. They got it so far down that eventually these aftermarket products become obsolete. I don't think you can do a better job. I've been in pattern making myself for almost 40 years, and I would have a hard time, except for 3D printing, to duplicate this. Even 3D printing, I don't know if there's something that can be improved. That's how nice and crisp and fully detailed the sidewalls are. Makes it a lot more fun. Okay, so I'm gonna take one more last bindy and put all the sidewalls in there. Oh, I forgot one more piece here. Okay guys, that was it for now. Visit us soon on our website at Squadron TV for the next chapter in the build. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe to YouTube or Squadron TV itself. That way you'll get notifications when a new chapter is put up. So that was it for now. Jeffy here, signing off. Don't make too many because I get confused and I see like what. You can follow us. Watch out, God, I can't do it. Come and visit us soon on Squadron TV for the next or Squadron TV for a fact, not for a fact, shut up.